Last May, she was hit by a truck. Her leg had to be amputated below the knee, but she didn't let the operation keep her off the stage. And less than a year into her new life, Alyssa.
Shall we resume? Yes, great, great, great. Let's see who we have here. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to acknowledge everyone. Obina, thanks for being here. Abiola Aditya, thank you so much for being here. Kende, my man from Tazi, thank you so much for being here. Obina, yes, Roberts, Temitope, I'm not sure which Temitope that is, but Temitope, I hope, well, there are many Temitopes in my life. Faith, thank you for being here. DCLM, NT Northern Territory, I don't know. Ochua, oh, Ochua, amazing. Good to see you. God bless you. You look great in this photo. Mel Siapu, thank you so much for joining. All right. Fonande, I'm not sure whether I got that right, but thanks so much for connecting. Bodams, Yoaku, Derek, Ibukunlua, G, Tony, Olarwaju, Susan, Tayo. Thank you all for being here. I can't call everyone's name now. We've got about 33 people here. I'll be talking to you today about the mindset of a leader, the mindset of a leader. All right. Now, I'm a person of faith, so I'd like us to just say a word of prayer before we go ahead and then we dive deep into this. Father, Lord, we thank you for today. We bless you. We pray that our musings and our conversations today will be healthy, wholesome, and liberating. I pray that every one of us here will receive a lift so that we can thrive in our self-leadership in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, let's dig deep into this. So I'm talking about the mindset of a leader. I just want to go back to some of the thoughts I shared the last time we had this conversation, and that was probably a few weeks ago, or maybe almost a month ago. We talked about, the mind, and I was talking about the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. I was trying to just expound on that. So today I'm going to be going from there. In fact, if you remember the last session we had, and I'll probably have to send you guys a link to that video for those who have not watched that video. The last session, the last part of that session, I talked about how to create sustainable behavior change. So if you want to change your behavior, you want to start something new, you want to do something that's sustainable. I'm not talking about you starting something that you cannot complete. I'm not talking about you starting a new project that, you know how many people start things, and can't complete them. And that's a normal human behavior. And so I give us about 4 or 5 strategies that you can employ, that you can use in your daily life that can help you sustain behavior change. So if you want to start something new, if you want to change your attitude, you want to have mastery over your emotions and your thought patterns, you want to modulate your life in a way that you're not reactionary, but you're visionary. Of course, there's a difference between people who are reactionary, people who tend to just adjust to what life brings to them. Their life is on an autopilot, and so they're not intentional about their reaction, about the way their life, the trajectory through which their life, travels. Yeah. And when you are in that sort of state where you just live your life every day without intentionality, of course, this will probably not make sense to you. But people who are true leaders and um, people who are inspirational, people who are significant, who want to be significant, not just successful. All right, people who want to be significant will have to do this. So there would be a time in your life when you would have to decide that, I want to start something new. I want to change this in my life, and I want it to be sustainable. I want to be consistent at it, because consistency is the key to expertise. Consistency is the key to significance. You will never find anybody who is significant who is not consistent. And you cannot develop consistency if you're not able to develop a sustainable behavioral pattern. All right, that's really key. And in my line of work, I realized that so many people struggle. I know how many of my patients, I'm a neurologist, and I know how many of my patients will have stroke. I know how many of my patients will have mental health issues. I know how many of my patients will have anxiety. I had a lady 2 days or 3 days ago in one of my clinics who is a psychologist and who was suffering from anxiety. Imagine a psychologist, a psychotherapist. In fact, yesterday I had a patient who studied psychotherapy, a white girl, beautiful, pretty girl in a stable relationship, but she's bedeviled by this anxiety. She will pay hundreds of dollars to see me, all right, because she thinks something is wrong. All right, but she knows nothing is wrong, but she can't just help it because she can't get rid of those thoughts. And I see people over and over and over again who consistently, consistently sink in this mire of self-defeat because they are unable to sustain behavioral change. They go for meetings, they get pumped up in meetings, they get inspired in meetings, they get challenged in meetings, but they can't rise up above that. All they get is this initial excitation of energy, initial burst of energy that is not sustainable. It's like starting a marathon and not being able to go beyond a kilometer when it's a 40-kilometer race or 33-kilometer race, whatever. Sustainable behavior change is the key to significance. If you're not able, because let me tell you, you are as imperfect as they come. Every single person on this surface of this earth is blessed with imperfections. And those imperfections are a reflection of our humanity. So if we are truly going to achieve significance in our lives and influence and impact in our world, whether it's in a local stage or on a global stage, wherever, you would need to make changes and adjustments to your life, from your thought processes to your thinking patterns, to your actions, to your behavior, to your relationships. Life is all about change. And if you do not understand that principle and know how to execute change, that's one word God gave me when I started all of this, when I started this journey. God told me clearly that my assignment is to help people navigate change without losing their purpose, their identity, and their individuality. So pretty much it is possible for you to, transition from here to there without losing your very essence, without compromising your stand. But doing that and having that, sustainably, changing, moving from here to there, all right, changing your pattern of behavior, your pattern of thinking in a way that is sustainable, that will guarantee results, is difficult. And a lot of people will lower the bar, a lot of people will transition, but in transitioning, they would lose the essence. A lot of people at the end of the day lower the bar and they pursue success rather than significance, not understanding that if you pursue significance, success will come. Not understanding that if you pursue significance, you'll be successful. But a lot of people at the end of the day will settle for the less because they just can't sustain that behavioral change. I'll quickly go over those points I made and then I will expound on those principles. Okay, so last time, 4 weeks ago, I shared with you 4 key principles that will help you create sustainable behavioral change. And today I'm only going to talk about 2 of them in detail. Okay, and I'm going to talk about a few things that you're going to do that would help. So I'm going to be talking about the art of journaling, A-R-T, of journaling. I'm going to be talking about journaling, why it's important to have a journal. I'm going to be talking about selective attention. I'll be talking about value tagging, and I'll talk about learned helplessness. So those are key subconscious principles that I think I made reference to the last time, and now I'm going to expand on them in more detail today. But 4 key principles that would help you create sustainable behavioral change. If you were here last time, you would have heard this, and I'm going to read them out again. Number 1, awareness. Number 2, attention. Number 3, action. Number 4, accountability. Awareness, action, attention, action, accountability. 4 A's. Number 1, awareness, raised awareness. Number 2, attention, focused attention. And those are the 2 things I'll be dealing with today. Then number 3, action, and that is deliberate practice. And number 4, accountability, and that's about self-accountability and other forms of accountability. All right, but there's no way I will have enough time because I hope to get out of here at 7 o'clock. In the next 12 hours, I still have 2 ministrations. In the next 7 hours, I'm preaching in church tomorrow morning as well, Sunday morning. So I need to get out of here. I don't want to, my wife must not divorce me, she's already complaining. So very quickly, I'm going to talk about the top 2. Can I go on? Can I go now? You guys, are you with me? Do I have my people here? Are you really with me?
Yeah,
Yes, sir. We are listening, sir.
You're with me. Great. I want some activity on the chat, so just let me know that I'm feeling you guys. Because most of you have your cameras off, except Obina. So Obina is getting all the attention. I'm looking into his eyes. Obina, don't worry, I see you. I'm not, but I appreciate that you're here. God bless you. Great. So let's just take a deep dive into awareness, raised awareness. You see, awareness is about insight. And in neuroscience, insight, insight for a lot of us refers to understanding and revelation. But in neuroscience, insight is not just revelation or understanding or having a deep knowledge. about something, okay? Or it is in a way, but let me give you a very good example. Insight is what, and I'm going to make it look, of course I'm a doctor, so I'm going to use those kind of examples. So I tell a patient that a patient has got cancer, all right? Or no, let me not use cancer. Cancer is just too dreaded. I tell a patient that they've got migraine, all right? They complain of headache and everything, and I tell them they've got migraine, all right? Now the patient understands that they've got migraine. They know something is wrong with them, all right? And they're able to absorb that and accept that. That is insight. So insight is the person's cognitive ability. It's a cognitive function that helps you understand where you are, what state you are, your true state. So somebody who lives in self-deception does not have insight. Somebody who lives in self-deception, somebody who cannot truly assess him or herself, cannot have true insight. Insight is not external, it's internal. It's the ability that you have to be able to see yourself the way you really are. I hope I'm talking to somebody. The ability to see yourself the way you really are. So when in medical terms or in neuroscience, we say somebody lacks insight, it's very common, for example, with schizophrenics. I'm not sure whether you've seen a schizophrenic who is screaming and having hallucinations, hearing voices and all that. They lack insight. So when the psychiatrists will say they lack insight, meaning they don't understand. So if you speak to somebody who has real frank psychosis, they would not know. They would think what they're hearing when they're hearing the voice of God. I remember when I was in university, we had this brother who was frankly psychotic. He was absolutely psychotic, seeing things and hearing voices. And we actually, because we were, in the church of, I'm still a Christian, where fellowship together, we actually thought he was hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit. My God, this man wasn't hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit. He was having auditory hallucinations, hearing different things and saying different. It took a while for us to really realize that this brother, we had to take him to the psychiatry hospital then, and they are pumping him up with antipsychotics, and then he settled down. Of course, we also pray for him and all that. All right. So, but he lacked insight. You will never be able to get somebody to reason when they lack insight. You can never get them to understand. Even if you show them that the deficiencies in them, and you open their eyes to see, even when you present facts to them, no, they lack insight. They lack the capacity to be able to, appropriately and accurately assess themselves. All right. I know that our own insight is perfect by no means, and I'm not saying that we can do, properly assess ourselves properly. I'm coming somewhere where, you remember I'm talking about raised awareness. All right, as a way to create sustainable behavior change. Listen, if you don't have insight into your current situation, you can never seek for help, or you will never seek for a way out of that situation. If you do not have insight into your situation, you will never seek for help, or you will never be able to get out of that situation. The reason why a lot of people are still where they are now is because they lack insight into their situation. It's because they don't even know. The reason why a lot of people are still sick is because they don't know that they are sick. After all, it is when you know that you're sick that you will take the step of going to a doctor to seek for help. All right. Without insight, you will never seek for help because you think you're okay. You will think you're comfortable. You will think, yes, I'm fine. All right. You will think you're fine. So a man that lacks insight, all right, feels he's okay, feels there's no need for change in that area, feels there's no change, well, my wife is okay, my family life is okay. They don't see any problem with their communication, even though they are bossy, even though they are very selfish and very self-centered, and maybe their wife is complaining and struggling, but they will never. So a man who lacks insight is so self-absorbed, conceited, full of self that they cannot see. All right, all they see is them, the good part. They will never see. Those kind of people cannot change. And no matter how much, even if you take them for counseling and you take them for this and you take them for that, they will never change. They may feel guilty. They may have guilt. Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it cannot be sustainable. So you cannot create sustainable behavioral change if you lack insight. And when I mean insight, I'm talking about not a revelatory knowledge of the future or revelatory knowledge about the external things, about who is chasing you or who is responsible for your misfortune. No, I'm talking about the deficiencies or the areas of growth in your life that you need to work on. So the first thing is to understand the areas of growth. Where are those areas in my life? And that's all about self-leadership. Leadership is not just about bossing people around. Leadership is about you being able to govern yourself and not being a slave to your desires, your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings. God hasn't created your emotions to rule over you, so that when you get that limbic hijack, you lose control of yourself. You can scream and shout and everything. Of course, you'll feel remorse later, and you come back and say, I'm so sorry, I am this, I'm that. That's not the way you've been designed. That's not God's desire for your life. So insight is, first of all, you understanding, all right, that you need something in a particular area. Understanding your areas of growth, understanding the need for change is insight. Insight is understanding the need for change, seeing the need for change, knowing that, yes, there are areas of growth. There are areas in my life that I can be better. Knowing that, yes, in this area of my life, I can advance. In this area of my life, I can abound. In this area of my life, I can grow. There's something in this part of me, my understanding, my relationships, the way I deal with people, the way I talk, the way I engage people, in terms of the way I communicate my vision, in terms of the way I reach out to people, I mentor other people, or in terms of the way I deal with my peers or those who are above me. That is insight. Insight is very, very important. And because insight is the key to raised awareness. Insight helps you to bring out the subconscious or unconscious to the conscious. Remember the last time I shared with you, I talked about the conscious, and I'm going to share that slide so that you guys can, get the point I am communicating. I'll see if I can find that slide. When I talked about the mind and I talked about the conscious and the subconscious. Just give me a second to look for that slide, and I'll try to find that slide. So I talked about the conscious and the subconscious. Just give me a second, guys, so that I can bring that up. I'll move this here, right, and I'll see if I can find that slide. Just give me a second, guys. Yes, just going to. All right. So hope you can see it. Well, yeah, I talked about the mind. I talked about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And one of the things I said about this, I talked about the conscious mind, all right, the neocortex, which controls your thoughts, your imagination, which are visual thoughts, your decision making, your judgment, your intelligence, creativity, personality, attitude. Attitude here at the refined level. All of these things are encoded in the conscious mind neocortex, all right? But beneath that is the subconscious mind, which is the limbic system. And I talked about being a structure or a system in the brain that houses your non-conscious habits and behavioral patterns. And I talked about the priming that happens. I talked about the brain being a predictive organ. The brain predicts your behavior. And a lot of the predictions of the brain happens in the limbic system. And it's actually connected to your mind anyway. So the brain or the mind is a powerful predictive tool. So your brain goes back to your past to predict your future behavior. So when you see somebody, the first thing your brain does, you see somebody, you think, oh, have I met this person before? You know why you're thinking, that face looks familiar? It's because your brain quickly tries to match that person's face with past experience, or that person's accent, or that person's behavior with past experience. And the brain primes you already. If you were swindled or you were abused by somebody that matches that profile, immediately your guard will be up, the hairs on your skin will rise, your hormonal levels will go, the stress hormones will rise, you'll be primed for action, you'll be on the guard, you'll be suspicious of that person, all right, because you already judged them, you've already judged the book by its cover before opening the book. All of that happens at the subconscious level. You don't have to think or hear the person talk or listen to their name. You can judge them. You see somebody, for example, who looks outwardly, does not look like somebody that can actually vibe with you, or you feel that immediately, all of those things happen at the subconscious level. What happens is that the imagery of that person, what you are seeing of that person, the perception that you have of that person is matched with your past experience, your past training, the conditioning you've been exposed to, that your mind has been exposed to, and all of those things. So you are primed. And I'll be coming back to that when I talk about value tagging. So within your mind already, there's a priming that takes place. And then that determines the emotions that will be expressed at the time, whether it's an emotion of surprise, an emotion of fear, an emotion of anger, an emotion of joy, an emotion of elation, whatever the emotion is. Of course, that emotion now breeds and leads into feelings, which can become much more, which can then affect your actions. Whether you're going to snub that person, walk away from that person, or hug that person, or listen to that person, or you want to get that person's number. All right. So a lot of all these things starts within the subconscious. And what many people do not realize is that you cannot have sustainable behavioral change without realizing where you need growth. And if you're going to, once you realize that, in order for you to realize that place of growth, it needs to be it needs to come from the subconscious level to the conscious level, because within the subconscious level, the behavioral predictions have already been formed. Those neuronal networks that make you prone to overeating, that makes you prone to giving up, that makes you prone to talking too much, that makes you prone to not wanting to do this, that makes you prone to being self-centered or selfish. Some of those behavioral flaws, a lot of those things have been hardwired within the limbic system, within the subconscious. That's where your habits are formed. And so when you have new experiences, your new experiences are judged by the old experiences. And the limbic system decides what thoughts are elevated and what emotions are elevated. I don't want to go too scientific, but I just hope somebody is getting something here. And I'm trying to merge, I'm trying to bring a lot of concepts together, spirituality, science, and bring that on with leadership. Am I talking? Is this audience ready for this? Is this the right audience for this?
Yes, sir.
My audience getting this? Are you getting it? Are you getting it? I'm still talking about insight, okay? But I'm trying to establish insight.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to establish insight, not just from a spiritual point of view. I'm trying to establish insight from a neuroscience.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are getting it, sir.
Great. You're going to mute yourself now. Thanks. So I'm trying to establish insight from multiple points of view so that you can have a balanced and robust understanding of what I mean by insight. All right. So I'm not referring to you having a revelatory knowledge about the future or about the present. I'm talking about you having an understanding of the areas of growth in your life. And I'm saying that in order for you to really understand the foundation of those behavioral patterns of why you do what you need to do, you need to understand the subconscious. Because many of us, we want to fix our behavior, we want to fix the fruit without going to the root. So if you're a Christian and you've heard that scripture in Romans chapter 12, where it says, do not be conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is so deep. So, and that is how to actually have, a transformative or a sustainable change by going to the mind. And I'm trying to explain to you now that the mind, there's a lot more in the mind than the external thoughts and all of that. There's a lot more to the mind. So understand that very important principle that I've just shared here, that insight is you understanding your areas of growth. And if I were you, what I'll be looking for is having understanding of your areas of growth, because some of you will spend your energy, all right, reinforcing the areas that you're already good at, but which will not take you to where you need to be. But those areas where you need to grow, there's a natural tendency for you to gravitate to your areas of strength, not understanding that for you to have sustainable change, you need to also grow in those areas where you are weak. Are you with me? You need to grow in those areas. And so if you're not very careful, you will find out that you would ignore those areas. And so being able to be aware, that's raised awareness, understanding, raising from this non-conscious to the conscious, those areas of change that are required is what we're talking about, raised awareness. And let me tell you, one of the ways to really enhance your awareness is by journaling. By journaling, having a journal. And I'm going to talk about journaling very quickly, all right? Because I feel that this is something that most people do not practice. It's very, very important. I'm just going to share a few things about journaling. So why, I know there are people out there who just live their lives and there's no intentionality to it. So that may not have, this may not appeal to you. But if you're here and you want to take ownership and you want to be intentional about the things you do, you want to grow, you want to have sustainable behavioral change that would make you significant in your area of influence, all right? One of the practices that I would encourage you to have is the art of journaling. Very, very important because it's a key to self-reflection and it helps to enhance raised awareness. It provides you with the time, the space to be able to think through about your life, about where you are, and about your leadership. And so if you're there and you don't have time for self-reflection, because self-reflection often helps with raised awareness. If there's no time in your life where you can, and I'm going to talk about that, all right? Because self-reflection is not self-pity. Self-reflection is not you, just going into one corner and, either praising yourself or tearing yourself apart. That's not what it's about. So it's not about you just being self-absorbed, no. But at some point, your best preacher is yourself. At your point, you have to come to, you have to get past self-deception, where you can actually look at yourself and see yourself the way you really are and judge yourself truly. Of course, sometimes we may need help from other people. We may need help from the Spirit of God if you're a Christian and all of that. Yes. But it's very important to understand that when you go through a self-reflective process, it gives you the opportunity to be able to raise your awareness in those areas of growth. It helps you to expose those areas of growth that's required. All right. So if you're going to journal, a few things I want to talk about journaling. Okay. And I'm going to talk about different types of journaling as well. Okay. What is journaling? Journaling is you being, you writing things down. All right. Somebody saying, is there a proper way to journal? Well, that's what we're talking about, keeping a journal. A journal is a record of, your thoughts, your emotions, your activities, your actions, decisions, and the whys and your feelings, whether they're correct or not at the time. That's what journaling is about. And the question is, why do I want to write those things down? Even if, why? And I'm going to come back to explain the why. But consistent journaling has been shown, and there's enough science to back this out, that consistent journaling has been shown. If you're consistent in journaling, it helps to enhance your self-reflection. It helps to open up areas to you that are probably previously blind to you. Because a lot of us, the way we live our lives, we rarely have periods, or we rarely have opportunities for self-reflection. Most of the self-reflection we do, in fact, most of us don't do self-reflection. Most of us, we get the feedback from our pastor. You listen to somebody preach and then they can x-ray your life, or maybe you read a book and you assess yourself based on the content of a book, or maybe what you're listening to me right now, you watch a webinar or you participate in a masterclass and you reflect on your actions based on somebody else's thoughts. There's nothing as powerful as you being alone and reflecting on your life based on what you already know and based on the vision you have for your life, and just reflecting on that alone. There are many times when you do that your eyes will be open to see things that you would never have seen before. Because you cannot have focused attention without raised awareness. And I'm going to come back to that. It's really important. So journaling is not just about writing. It affords you the opportunity to think and reflect and meddle upon your life, upon your day, upon your feelings, your emotions. It will help you identify the healthy and the unhealthy emotions, as long as you're truthful. And I'm going to come back to that. So the first thing I'll talk about journaling, if you're going to get into this business, is that you've got to be consistent about it. You've got to be consistent daily. Make it a daily routine. Somebody said the secret of the future is hidden in your daily routine. All right. You've got to make sure that you do this daily, or as often as you can. And when you do it, you review your previous entries. Okay. Number two, the other thing I want to share about journaling is that you can write anything. There's no sort of formula for it. You can write your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions, ideas, your future, what has happened. You can write it down. You can just write it down. And many a times when you write those things down, it may not be very clear to you at the time. But when you go back to read those entries, you're like, wow, did I do that? Did I react in that way? Or did I think about that? Did I feel that way? Oh, so 23rd of that, I felt that way. Wow. it helps you raise your own self-awareness to see those areas of growth that you need. Now, you don't have to be verbose. You don't have to write stories. You don't have to spend 3 hours journaling. You don't have to. So you got to find what works for you. Remember, it's not a time for, it's not a place, a pity party. It's not a place where you're pro. No. Don't be verbose. Don't just, keep writing. Just make sure that you do it in a way that is succinct and that it sort of summarizes or captures the very essence of what you want to say. Now, the primary things there about journaling is that, number one, it should be truthful. All right? Truthful. Be true to yourself. You got angry. All right? And you used words that maybe you shouldn't have used. Yes. Be truthful. All right? Be open to yourself and be sincere about your experiences, your motivations, and your actions. Let me tell you, if you cannot judge yourself, even the Bible says it, judge yourself so that you will not be judged. If you cannot, the scripture says it over and over again, examine yourself, see if you are in the faith. Self-examination is the key. If you cannot sit down and do a proper self-examination, you cannot. So what I'm saying is also backed by scripture and backed by science. And I'm just giving you one tool. This is not the only tool. Some people do it through meditation where they can just go into a place and they can meditate and reflect. They don't have to write anything. They just, just in that place where they can truly reflect on their actions. Yes. But today I'm talking specifically about journaling. This may not be for everyone, but this may be for someone. All right. So if you're going to do journaling, if you're going to write down and have a journal, make sure you're truthful, you're open, you're sincere, about what you do. Very, very important. All right. About journaling. And the other thing I want to say there is that different types of journaling, okay, but I'm going to identify 3 types that I think would help you. Okay, 3 types of journaling that I would think would help you. Number 1, the morning pages. The morning pages. This is when you wake up in the morning. If you have a devotion, you have your devotion. Or even if you want to do it before your devotion, fair enough. You get your journal out and you just write. It's not scripted, it's not censored, there are no topics, it doesn't have to have a flow, you're not writing a book, you're just expressing your thoughts. Just like that. Your mind is fresh, you're just woken up from sleep and you just journal and you just write. You reflect on the past day, all right? So maybe all the stress hormones have calmed down, the day is bright, you look at, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that, I did that, yes. You just journal, you reflect. You reflect. It gives you the opportunity to reflect, all right? You reflect. Morning pages. Some people do it weekly, maybe just the first day of the week, okay, they set the tone. All right, it doesn't have to be scripted. Okay, morning pages may be what works for you. For some other people, the gratitude journal, and I love this. This is probably what I love the most. The gratitude journal. The best time to keep a gratitude journal is at the end of the day. Okay, this is the opposite of the morning pages. When you want to go to bed, you reflect on the day. What am I grateful for? That's the question you're asking. Today, what am I grateful for? All right, you've had the most disappointing day. What am I grateful for? Today, what am I really, really grateful for? And you just have a look at that and see, what am I grateful for? Is there anything that I'm grateful for? Oh yes, maybe that didn't go well for me, but maybe something did, or maybe somebody let you down, or whatever it is. All right, you focus, you look at your relationships, your leadership approach, the opportunities. What am I grateful for? Well, maybe I don't have that, but I have this, and I have this opportunity. Do you know that, in fact, keeping a gratitude journal will help you sleep better? Keeping a gratitude journal helps with your sleep. And I don't have time to talk about the sleep waves and everything and, the sleep physiology and all that. But keeping a gratitude journal helps with sleep. It helps you have a positive attitude. It helps you get into a positive space. Even for your mental health, for your physical health, it's very helpful when you keep it. And in your spiritual life, it's helpful to keep a gratitude journal. It helps you to see people in a different light. Because let me tell you, people are flawed. All of you, every one of us, 62 of us on this call, we are as flawed as they come. We are humans, all right? And people may not see your, flawed side, but if they are there, the people who are close to you will know that. Your coaches, your mentors, your spouses will know those areas. But there's a lot still in your life that you'll be grateful for. And keeping a gratitude journal helps you keep you grounded. because it helps you to see that, yes, I'm blessed in this area, and it's beyond my own doing. It's not just what I've done. There's still the handiwork of God in my life. There's still the grace of God in my life that I'm grateful for. Today, I was sharing with our workers. We had our church has been closed in Sydney. We've had a lockdown in Sydney for a long time. So church is just opening up now. So we had our workers retreat this morning. So the first time I was seeing a few people for almost 4 months. I've not seen them for about 4 months. So we gathered together, and I was sharing with them today from Psalms 127 verse 1 in the scripture that except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. I'm sharing with them that you cannot build without labor. So whenever I say except the Lord builds, there is no building without labor. Have you seen any building project without laborers? No way. It takes labor to build. But when God says that except the Lord build a house, the laborers labor, they build it in vain. Listen, they will still build it, but it will be in vain. So when he says build it in vain, it's not saying that they will not build it, but the purpose will be missed because the architect has been ignored. I don't want to start preaching to you right now, but that's just the fact. So when you keep a gratitude journal, it keeps things in perspective for you, and it helps you to appreciate what God has done for you and the great things you have in your life. Number 3, a goal-focused journal. You can keep a goal-focused journal, all right? A goal-focused journal, meaning that your journal is focused on your goals. You're not like somebody else. Maybe Abiola, I'm seeing Abiola, pretty photo, by the way, Abiola did, I like this photo. Abiola may say, you know what, I want to keep morning pages because you know what, I just want to talk about my mood, my feelings, and my emotions. So most of Abiola's journal will be about how she feels, her emotional state. Oh, today was great. I prayed. I was great, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, was a downer. This person was this person was that, or maybe I've got this challenge or at work, or I'm not happy at work and everything. I'm working, what are my areas of growth and all that, so that's a journal. But Obina's journal may be more of a gratitude journal that, my journal is all going to be about, what I'm grateful for, and maybe the day has been so horrible that all you can be grateful for is that I can breathe through my nostrils, and I can talk, and I can move my arms, and I can move my legs, and I'm like, yeah, I'm grateful for that. Okay. But Kende, your journal may be a goal-focused journal where you don't want to talk about your moods, your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts. You want to talk about your goals and your vision. All right. So every time you're writing in the journal, it's with your goal in view. Okay. All right. So whatever you're writing there is with the goal in view. And let me tell you this. Do you know that people who write down their goals and who journal around their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them? This is just take this to the bank. When you write down your goals, when you're intentional, it takes a lot of intentionality to write things down. And some time ago, I'm not sure whether it was in this last time I spoke about visual focus, mental focus, all right? And that the way there's a science behind vision, seeing things, all right? There's a science behind it. Because when you see something, it helps the brain, why is it that videos on all social media, I'll be doing some social media marketing and all that, and most of the digital media people, if you're here, digital media people, I salute you. They would say that videos engage more than flyers or words. Is that correct? People, so if you want to promote a product, make a video, go on live, Instagram live, or post a video. You're more likely to engage more people than writing a whole, writing prose. All right. That's because of mental focus. And some of the examples I've given in the past is that if I get, so I know there's a lot going on in the chat. I'll come to the chat very soon. If I get you, Obina, all right, let me get you to unmute yourself, okay? And let me just do a quick task with you, all right? I'm just trying to illustrate mental, visual and mental focus. So we've got mental focus, we've got visual focus, okay? So Obina, all right, I don't know where you are. Where are you? Which part of the world are you in?
Yeah.
Which part of the world? Where are you? Which country?
I'm in United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. God bless you, my brother. Quick question. 4 times 4, what is it?
I'm in the United Kingdom.
Okay, is it my internet?
16.
4 times 4, 16. Great. So you answer that at the spinal level. You know, that's always the spinal level. Spinal level means a reflex. You didn't even have to think. All right, 4 times 4 is 16. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go higher. 100 minus 7.
That's 93.
Wow. You're a mathematician. I don't know what you do, okay? But let me make it a bit difficult for you. Okay. 24 times 10.
240.
Wow, this man is, thank God my money is not on the line. You're really doing well.
Okay.
Okay, now, so let me ask you this one. 24 times 231.
Oh, I need to write this down.
Write it down. Okay, write it down. Write it down.
Okay.
Write it down. Quickly do it for us. Do it for us. Can who is Abimbola? Abimbola, I can see your camera is on. Can you get a calculator and whatever Obina says? The question is 24 times 231. Do you have a calculator there? I want somebody that has a calculator, please, to confirm. Don't tell him the answer yet, but you know, if you have a calculator, they help us check it. Obina, we'll give you time. We'll give you time. Don't be in a rush. Get it right. Get it right. You've been doing well. You've been doing very. You have your answer now. Do you have your answer now, Obina?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
That's 5,544.
Okay, now I don't know the answer. So, Abimbola, have you calculated it on the, or has anybody else calculated it? Okay, who has calculated it? Can you just type it out if you've calculated? Is it correct? Oh, they're saying you're correct. Tony says you're correct. All right. All right. Okay. Simi says, okay, correct. Okay, correct. So, Obina,
Yeah.
what is the difference between mental and visual focus? You see, when I gave you the simple sums, all right? Sorry, just mute yourself now if you're not talking, okay? So when I gave you the simple things, simple arithmetic, you could do that without writing it down. Mental focus. You could do that without writing it down. But when I upped the game, you had to write it down. You had to see it to do it. You know that, let me tell you something. Mental focus comes after visual focus. The first type of focus that you develop is the visual focus. That's why if I get my son now, I told you to do, what did I ask you to do? The first one I told you to do, I can't remember, it was a simple one, isn't it? 4 times 4.
4 times 4. Then it's 100 minus 7.
My 5-year-old cannot do that. But if I get my 5-year-old now to do 2 plus 2, you know what it will do? It will do 1, 2, 3, 4. It will tell me the answer is 4. Visual focus. He needs to see it to be able to do it. And when he's seen it and done it over and over again, he can create a mental picture and operate that same algorithm in his brain without seeing it. Now, one thing we don't understand is that same principle applies to our big goals. A lot of us think we can just keep the goals in the brain there and just keep it there. You don't understand that when you see it over and over again, you're actually helping your mental focus. The more you have visual focus about something, you're enhancing your mental focus about the same thing. Do you know, Obina, that if I ask you in the next 3 hours, 5 times to calculate 24 times, what is it, 231 or 2 whatever? 231. Do you know that by the 6th time, you will not need to think. You will be able to work it out. Do you know that?
Yeah.
All right. People say repetition. Yes, repetition enhances retention. Yes, but that's the same thing. Visual focus enhances mental focus. And the reality is that when you paint, why do people talk about vision boards and action boards and all of those things? It's still the same thing. When you keep your goal in your visual field, you keep your goal in your visual field over and over again. And I will come to the next part, which is focused attention, because attention relies on awareness. Remember, we're still talking about awareness. That's why I said I'm going a bit deeper today on those two things, awareness and attention. I started by talking about insight. And then I'm talking about now the art of journaling. All right. And the reason why a goal-focused journal will really help you to raise your awareness about your goals. A goal-focused journal will help you raise your awareness about your goals. It will keep it in view. It will keep it in view. So if you're going to have a journal, you can have a goal-focused journal. Do you know that those who share their goals with someone, preferably a coach or a mentor, on a weekly basis, are 70% more likely to achieve them completely or go halfway there? That is, I'm quoting a paper there. When you have, and that, you know what that speaks to? It speaks to what? Accountability, commitment, and writing down your goals. So if you write down the goals, you don't just write the goals down. You are accountable to somebody who will keep you, who will hold you by those goals, will keep you in check, will encourage you. You'll be committed to those goals. Do you understand that? I'll share with you, I have been struggling with my weight. I'm telling you the truth. I have been struggling with my weight. So that's one area for me that I really need help with. And I don't eat a lot, but I don't burn a lot. And I am so nerdy. As you look at me like this, I don't like walking. My wife can walk around our estate 10 times. I don't like it. I don't like walking around people's houses. She says she likes the fresh air. I don't like it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's just me. So I try. There's no, most of the home-based gym equipment are in my home. I've got a rower, I've got a treadmill, I've got everything here. I've got skipping ropes, I've got dumbbells, I've got that kitchen kettle, that kettle, that one. All right. But you know what? I can sit on this computer and I can be here from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, reading books, watching documentaries. Those are the kind of things I like. And I can go on Netflix, watch some crime shows, then pray, prepare some messages, write a book, read paper, mark assignments, and I will not eat one meal. Sometimes my wife will come and knock on the door, come out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's just what I love. Or I can be teaching like this and I love it. But I realize that's an area of growth for me. And guess what? My wife cannot hold me accountable because after 13 years of marriage, there's just the way I couldn't teach her how to drive. Don't like this. Hey, you are screaming. I was not screaming, my dear. Just don't. Okay. Well, I got one Bangladeshi teacher for her. She was doing yes, sir, yes, sir. So I said, hey, so you can do yes, sir, yes, sir to this man that I'm paying. I'm paying him per hour to teach you, and you're doing yes, sir, yes, sir to him. Me, I'm your husband. I didn't shout. And the man will even raise his voice and say, okay. Lesson there, don't teach your wife how to drive. You will fight. Every night is fighting. So I learned that one. I stopped teaching her how to drive. That's something for those who have wives or husbands. It's the same thing. So my wife couldn't hold me accountable. Guess what? I went to the gym because I just thought, I needed to do something about this. All right. So I decided to get a personal trainer. And then, of course, it cost me money. So I went on this plan, got this personal trainer. This lady, Asian lady, she's probably half my size. But boy, oh boy, she's tough. She's like this on my neck. She's like this on my neck. Text message, have you weighed? She makes me weigh myself every day. Every day. Measure your abdominal this, measure your that. Hold me accountable. Putting me under the pump. Do you understand what I'm saying? She'll make me everything. We have an app. Everything that goes into my mouth must enter the app. She showed me an app that even if I'm eating, for those who are from Nigeria, a 40 row, I will weigh it. She wants me to weigh it and put it in the app and count my calories and be intentional about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's no way my wife will get me to weigh my food. I'll just say my dear and everything. She will give up. But this lady doesn't look at my face. All right. So she would sit me down there and say, no. One day she took me to the gym and I was in the rower and I was going. I was like, I said, no. 2 more sets. 2 more sets. I said, go. Push me. Up to today, I'm saying, let me tell you, we had lockdown, so the gym opened last week. So I just went back to the gym. What this lady did to me, all my body, do you know I've taken Panadol twice today? All my body, is still aching. I'm scared now. I'm scared of going to gym on Monday. I'm scared. But she saw me, she said, the lockdown, 3 months lockdown, I've gained all the weight I lost. So she said, you know what? We're going to start again. And this time we're going to go. So she made me write my goals. And every week she's holding me accountable. So she's making me weigh myself every day so that I will see where I am. Because you know what? I was trying to lose weight and I was never weighing myself. You know that kind of thing that you do. I'm trying to lose weight, but you don't weigh yourself because you are like, So she makes me do it every day. Goal focused journal. So a journal, actually, that's another thing. You can have a journal through an app. It doesn't have to be a book. Okay. So can I leave that? Let me just go through the comments, because some of you have been sharing a few things there, and I've just been, thank you so much for those who have been summarizing the stuff there. I think I've answered that. Is there a proper way to journal? There's no proper way to journal, actually. You may not even do journaling. This is not for everyone. If it's for you, you will find it helpful, okay? Can the presentation be available in soft copy? I'm not sure what you mean by soft copy. You mean all of this? This will be on YouTube, okay? I can send you the YouTube link later so you can watch it on YouTube, okay? Yes, thank you so much. So most of these are just summarizing. Yeah, thank you, Temitope. You're right. Yes, see me done, check already. Good. Let's just go. Visual focus. Yes, that's great. All righty, good. Thanks, guys, for the engagement. All right. Somebody said you're a blessing. I've missed the aspect. Temitope, I've missed this aspect of you teaching with comedy. Ha ha ha. All righty. All right. Thanks. Yeah, BC, wow, Coach BC, COVID weight does not count. Well, I'm carrying the COVID weight now, but we'll get there. So guys, very important. So let me go to the second one and I'll round up and I'll take a few questions. Okay, focused attention, okay? All right, you see, listen to me. This is probably, Kunle Shorian said this and I said it the last time. And it's not an original idea. He said, the most important product or the most important thing, how did you put it, that every company, every business is vying for is your attention. Have you seen the latest Facebook stuff? I saw it yesterday. They changed their name to Metaverse, Meta, and they talked about, do you know, I've never heard about Metaverse before. Those of you who are into that, all of these things, you know what I'm talking about. Yesterday, I went to watch a documentary. When I heard the news, I went to watch a documentary on Metaverse because I watched Mark Zuckerberg's whole video on the reason why they changed their name and all their products. So I didn't know that this whole concept of Metaverse was existing. So I came home and I was telling my wife. Of course, my wife has no clue as well. Like I said, do you know that in the next few years, if this Metaverse thing comes to life, we can all be at I can be at home and we can be hanging out like in a virtual home, all of us with our headsets or with our special glasses, and it will all have avatars, and it will be like we're in that kind of environment, and it will be so real. I was just talking about that. What is Facebook doing? Facebook's business model pretty much vies for your attention. Facebook makes money from your attention. Facebook, that is the business model of Facebook, and not just Facebook, every other organization is vying for your attention. That's why every time you watch a video, every time you're scrolling and you stop, that's counted as an impression. I've run a few Facebook ads, so I know how they work. So when they tell you your video has 500,000 impressions, all right? So when somebody stops on a video for a few seconds, maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, that's an impression. And the algorithm, the computer, the artificial intelligence behind it notes that down. That's an impression. So maybe he's interested in this. That's, so every single person, every single business is vying for your attention, always vying for your attention, always wanting to grab your attention. That is what everyone is interested in. And so your brain is exposed to hundreds of thousands of sensations that are vying for your attention on a daily basis, every single time. How are you going to be able to sustain your behavioral change when there are different experiences that are meant to distract you? What's a distraction? A distraction is an attraction vying for your attention, isn't it? A distraction is an attraction that is vying for your attention. So distractions are attractive. That's just the truth. Distractions are attractive. Distractions are not like, distractions are real. They're attractive. A distraction could be a beautiful girl. It could be a fantastic job. It could be a speaking opportunity. A distraction could be a video. It could be a group. It could be your peer group. It could be anything. That could be a distraction. All right. But distractions are inherently attractive. But what a distraction is vying for is your attention. It's vying for the focus of your attention. It's vying for your attention. That's what it is. And so when you give that attention to that attraction, which is not in line with your goal, it becomes a distraction. So any attraction that is not in line with your goal, with your vision, all right, is a distraction. With raised awareness, you already know the areas of your growth. You're already developing those areas. And you're already seeing where you should be, and you're seeing the areas you need to grow. That's your vision already. Oh yes, I want to be a prolific writer, but I cannot write 3 or 4 sentences. So I need to grow in that area. Oh, God is calling me to do this and this. God is calling me to be a people person, to help people. God is calling me to a counseling ministry, or God is asking me to help teenagers. You have a burden, a vision for teenagers, and you feel that there's a weight of that call on your life. But you see that at the moment you're not equipped. Maybe you don't have a professional qualification to mentor teenagers, or maybe you don't know enough about that, but you know that that's what pushes you on. That's what you're really, really keen on. That's an area of growth that has come already to your awareness. And you've seen yourself that, yes, I need to grow in that area. So the next step, once you've identified that area of growth and is raised awareness about that behavioral change, the next step is focused attention. How do I direct the attention of my focus to that area of growth so that I can flourish in that area? The problem, the challenge most of us have is not, for some people here, is not the awareness. A lot of you here know exactly what you should be doing. A lot of you here know that you've got to lose weight like me. But the problem is that you don't have enough focus, or you're not able to dedicate enough time and attention to what you already know, because you're distracted, because there's so many things. You've got a 9 to 5, then you've got a 5 to 9, and then you're a church leader, and you've got this, and you've got that, and you've got this, and you've got that. It's true. So many things vying for attention. And how are we going to do it? Listen, for the last 2 days, I've been away from home. I was in a clinic in a regional area, about close to 2 hours from my home, looking after patients. Now I came back yesterday for Bible study. Now I had Bible study yesterday. I was on call all through yesterday. Even though I didn't go to work, I was on call. This morning, I've been to the hospital for a ward round, finished my ward round. I got home, had a little bit of breakfast. Then I went straight to church for a workers meeting, finished the workers meeting. Then I came back home to start doing some replying emails and doing paperwork. Then after that, I've got this teaching here. And then tomorrow morning, I've got a speaking engagement in the morning with my wife. And then I'm still preaching in church tomorrow. Thank God I'm not working on Monday. Monday is my free day. I blocked it out. No work on Monday for me. And then the rest of Sunday, I can sleep. Nobody should touch me. All right. So the reality is that we are all busy. We are all busy. There's so many things, right? So how can you enhance your attention so that you can focus it on those areas of your growth? That is the biggest challenge. I'm going to talk about 2 things. I shared it with us before. I'm going to just go deeper into those things, and I'm going to round up, hopefully in the next 10 minutes. I'm not sure, it's still for me here. It's my timekeeper. If you're here, declare yourself. I can't look for you. So let me quickly share my screen, and I'm just going to talk about selective attention and very quickly, so that we can sort of dive deep into that in a very quick way. So I just share my screen now, and then I would talk about that. Just a second, please. Great. So selective attention and value tagging. Now, I've shared a few words about this before, but I just want to expound on that. This is about lender. I don't want to talk about lender helplessness now, or convergent thinking, divergent thinking. We'll talk about that later. All right. So selective attention. I like this chart. Okay. Every time I talk about selective attention, I use this chart a lot. Okay. And what this illustrates here in the brain is this organ called the thalamus, or the part of the brain called the thalamus, all right, which is like the gatekeeper, all right? And you don't need to remember this, but I just use this too, because I like to bring in a bit of neuroscience to what I say when it comes to this area or, of the mind, all right? So the thalamus itself is that structure underneath the brain, all right, next to the brain stem, all right, that filters out our sensation. So every sensory experience that you have goes through this relay area. Every sensory experience you have goes through this area. every experience. So when you're touching your, the vibrations on your body, all the energies you feel, everything is routed through the thalamus. It's like central station where all the trains come. And so when it gets to the thalamus will now, you see, it has connections to all the parts of your cerebral cortex. It will now, send the different sensations depending on what it is. So if it's a visual sensation, it goes to the occipital cortex, to the back here. All right. If it's your feeling, touch and all that, it goes to the somatosensory cortex. Depending on what it is, all the experiences, they go through the thalamus. All those sensations go through this structure here. So it's like the gatekeeper. All right. So the reason why this is so, let me just stop sharing my screen, or let me just make this point. The reason why this is so, imagine if all the sensations that go through the brainstem end up on your cortex. You'll be overwhelmed. Just imagine that, let me give this example. Imagine that the prime minister, all right, or president, wherever you are, but Obina, you're in the UK, the prime minister, Boris Johnson, all right? Imagine that every email that everybody sends gets to Boris Johnson. Is going to be flooded and overwhelmed. There is just no way he will be able to cope. So that's why Boris Johnson has a chief of staff. Nobody has access to him without going through the chief of staff. Every email would not even get to the chief of staff. There's somebody who is there who has a job to go through the emails, and the ones that are really, 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 super urgent will go there. The ones that are not really, really super urgent will go elsewhere. All right. So that's because Boris Johnson cannot afford to respond to every email, even if it is, oh, how are you? How many of that is he going to do? He will be drowned. The same thing with your brain. Your cortex cannot spend all of its time and resources responding to every single sensation that you experience. That's why the thalamus is there, to be a gatekeeper. Let me tell you, that is the reason why you don't feel every single thing. You are not conscious of every single sensory experience that you have. And one very good example I give now, Obina, for you, as I'm watching you now, you've got a shirt on. Do you think you feel the shirt all the time? No. I've got a wristwatch on. I don't even, if I've not mentioned it now, I've forgotten about this wristwatch. But my brain hasn't forgotten about the wristwatch. But guess what? My thalamus has stopped that sensation from being perceived because it's not necessary. Otherwise, I'll go crazy. No other person has their camera on. Everybody's just shut on their cameras today. Okay, Abimbola is there. And Casey, yes. All right. Casey, you don't walk around everywhere, Casey, feeling your hair. Do you think about your hair all the time? Do you feel your hair? But do you know that there are skin receptors on your scalp that can pick the sensation, that can feel the pressure, the weight of your hair, but you don't go around feeling it. Fee, thank you for putting your camera. Fee, you don't feel your glasses. How many times have I had my glasses like this? And I'll be looking for it. I'm like, where did I leave my glasses? Not remember. And then my wife will say, oh, gosh, yeah. You know the reason why? It's because the thalamus has downgraded and dampened that sensation because it doesn't have to be represented on my cortex. Any sensory experience that is not reflecting on your cortex will not be perceived. You don't perceive any sensory experience that does not get to your cortex. So your thalamus is there to stop some of those sensations from being represented there. Because if they are represented there, you will just get overwhelmed. So your thalamus is a gatekeeper. And so what that means is that your cortex has the opportunity to focus its attention on other things. But then when that system is disrupted, you start to feel everything, don't you? Everything becomes, I see people who come to me yesterday. Do you know how many people came to me like, oh, doc, I'm feeling buzzing, burning sensation on one side, and there's really nothing. It's because that system has been disrupted. It's very common with people with sleep deprivation, anxiety, depression, stress, all right? The chemistry is all messed up. And so a lot of sensations that they should not even be aware of, they start feeling those sensations. And that's not because there's a physical problem. There are times when there could be physical problems. I'm not saying that it can be, but sometimes there's really no physical problem. And that leads, that's very, very important thing. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the reason why the thalamus is there is so that your brain can focus. And let me extrapolate it this way. The extrapolation there is that you must be very cautious about the experiences that you allow to be represented in your cortex. Not every experience you have needs to rent a room in your cortex. That's why you cannot afford to react to every single person. Not everybody that abuses you needs a response. Not everybody that looks at you in a particular way needs to get a response. You must understand that there's just so much that is vying for your attention. You have so much to do. The resources of your brain are limited. You cannot afford to allocate precious cognitive resources to experiences that do not make sense. A few days ago, I had the right of road and I was driving, and this guy was just driving right in front of me, and he had no respect. I was exhausted. I was coming back from work. But I just said, you know what? Even though I'm right, do you know what I did? I just left. I moved very away from, and he just moved like a big boy. He had a bigger car. I was driving a tiny little, Mazda. So I moved off the way. And then he drove like the king and all that. And I just went back on my lane. I was like, you see, today is not your day. I just want to get home and see my family. I just refused to engage. I refused to give him precious cognitive resources to have a conversation. Because you know what? You know what some of you will do? That's when you will stop. Move, move, move. Have you seen some of those people? They will stop. No, go back. It's my way. You spend like 20 minutes there, and then you scream, you argue, your emotions are up, your hormones are up, blood pressure goes up, everything's already turned around. You have lost sight of your goal for that moment. You've allocated precious cognitive resources to something else. Somebody does not like you at work. Must it be an argument? Must you really, must you? Yes, I know you shared a powerful video on Facebook, but nobody liked it. Or you're in a WhatsApp group. You know those WhatsApp groups where when you share, nobody will say anything. Then somebody will put one stupid comedy there and everybody will be replying. And you start to feel that, what's the point? I am going to leave this WhatsApp group, but you will not leave. You will not leave because you know you are getting good information there. You know you are getting good information there, so you stay there. So you say, I will refuse to post. And you get upset. Let me tell you, when you understand the preciousness of your cognitive resources, you will not bother about a lot of simple things that have no value to your goal and vision. You will not get as upset and as attached to things that are of no significance or things that will not help you boost your goals in life. The fact that your neighbor does not reply your greeting will not matter so much to you anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? You move on very quickly. You move on very quickly because you understand that I do not have, my time on earth is limited. The time that I have to achieve my goals are limited, and the cognitive resources that I have to, unleash this is limited. I am not going to waste on an argument. I'm not going to waste on somebody that does not even appreciate me. I'm not even going to waste it on a stranger. I'm going to just elevate my game. I am going to elevate my game. Let me give you an example. Sorry if you're hearing noise in the background, probably my son. Let me give you a very good example. When I just arrived in Australia, I was in a rural town. I went to a rural hospital. I was an intern in a rural hospital. And in this rural hospital, this woman, the woman who was the nursing unit manager. She was a nurse, but she was the manager of the ward. So all these nurses who are managers of the wards, they are very, very, they're the boss. I actually inherently think that, and I'm not the kind of person, if you know me, I know that, I don't attribute racism to people. I'm not that kind of person, that is quick to judge people that way. But I actually think that this woman was inherently racist. And she showed her color in different ways. But I just realized that I am not going to argue with you. I'm not going to try. So one day, guess what? One day she gave the feedback to the director of our training program that they can't understand me. Hey guys, they cannot understand my English. Now, I'm not perfect with English, but guys, please, 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 please. Can you not understand my English? can you not? Oh, gosh, you guys are not even backing me up. People are not saying I understand. You're not giving me thumbs up. Like, you're making me now feel like she said she could not understand my English. Guess what? And with all due respect to Casey, and the case, just because I can see that you've got like an Asian appearance, we had some Chinese doctors there who learned English in Australia. And I'm not sure whether you've seen a Chinese man learn English in Australia, like learn English. You will struggle. We had a Bangladeshi doctor. His accent was so thick that you would never know that. In fact, let me tell you, even English, Obina, I was in England in 2006, 2007 for an exchange program in Queen Square, National Hospital of Neurology and Neurosurgery. I went there and there was this, they gave me an MS patient from Ireland, all right, Northern Ireland. This guy was talking. I did not believe he was speaking English. So, sir, what's wrong with you? He was just looking at him. What is he saying? I just copied the case note and I went to present it. Of course, the professor knew I'd copied. He said, did you copy that? I said, yeah. I said, I couldn't understand one word he was saying. I asked him what was his problem, emergency, and he was just rambling on. And, all I could hear was mate, at the end of every word, every sentence. Anyway, this woman said she could not understand my English. And for those of you who are Nigerians here, you know the way Nigerians will put emphasis on our words. Like, who will not understand? There's no place, even those people who are Igbo here, who are, the way they pronounce their words, you people will understand them. That's why Nigerians are everywhere. And we don't change our accent. In fact, those people that change their accent to talk Americanized, Australianized, they are not, you have a lot of grammatical bullets already and you are making it Americanized. You're causing more confusion for everybody. Just speak the way you speak. My brothers and sisters, I just felt this woman I could not believe it when they called me and they said they could not understand me. I said, can't you? No. But some of the nurses are not understanding you. So they wanted to send you for English classes. My brother and sister sent me I did IELTS. I got 9 in speaking. IELTS, 9 in speaking. All right. I had good scores in my English O levels. I went to medical school in Nigeria, in Lagos. How many essays did I write? How many papers? I published a paper in an international journal. And then you're sending me a doctor for English classes like I'm from, I'm telling you the truth. That was within the first 1 year of my stay in this country. I could not believe it. Absolutely. Thank you so much. People are saying absolutely ridiculous. At least thank you. You people believe me. You accept me. You say I speak good English. Yeah. Anyway. But guess what I did? So someone said she did have raised awareness or focus attention. Yeah. Guess what I did? I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to dedicate my precious cognitive resources to have a battle with this person. So they sent me to a city, Newcastle, not the UK, Newcastle in UK, this is Newcastle in Australia. Of course, almost all the UK cities are replicated here. In fact, I'm speaking to you from Liverpool, all right? I'm a Liverpool boy in Australia here, so Liverpool, Sydney, all right? But not as big as the Liverpool. I'm not a Liverpool fan, I'm a Man City fan, only that we don't have a Manchester here in Australia. We have, but I live in Liverpool. Anyway, I went to this course. But guess what? How God will bless me. They give me, I was driving one small Subaru Liberty at that time, but they give me an official car. They give me this big Toyota, brand new. And I went with my wife. They put me in a 5-star hotel. She didn't know all of that. That's what happened. Of course, they put me in a 5-star hotel. I was still getting my salary. They sent me away for 1 week to go and learn English in the University of Newcastle. They put me in this hotel. And of course, in Newcastle, that's where all my people were. I was living in Newcastle before I went to that rural place. And then I got there. Even the English professor was like, what are you looking for there? Because all the people that were there were migrants. Let me tell you, they were migrants, not even doctors. They were just new migrants. That's where they sent me to. All right, students who were migrants who were having like coaching classes. So I was there and I was just like the best student in the class. They just let me go. So they were teaching, so they decided to teach me slangs, Australian slangs. Like, what do I want to do with Australian slangs? Copper. Instead of give me a cup, give me a copper. Instead of saying afternoon, say avo. Instead of like say McDonald's, Macca's. Who cares about all those Australian slangs? But that was what they did to me. But guess what? I decided to just enjoy it. I didn't think about that woman one bit. I enjoyed 1 week. That was my first time in a 5-star hotel. All right. And I enjoyed with a beautiful car. I drove that car to church. I went for Bible study in the local church there. And we're just cruising around. It's, you bought a new car? No, it's the glory of God. You know, enjoying our lives. And for that 1 week, we just decided we're going to be positive. We're not going to give any, we're not going to let this lady rent a space in my head. I'm not going to even dedicate any cognitive. I don't want that sensory experience to be represented, irrespective of my intention. It's not going to have a space in my cortex. I am going to just enjoy the moment. I'm going to just go through it. I don't care what she thinks. I activated my thalamus. Say, thalamus, chief of staff, block it. All right. And that was just my perception. That was just my thinking. That was just my feel. You know, the way if that doesn't mean she will not come. She will fly like a bird above my head. Don't land. That thought will come about her again. I'll see her face. I'll just ignore it and I'll just move on. Think about something else. I'll just move on. I was not going to give her an inch. Let me tell you, by the time I finished I was there for 1 year. By the time I left there, I was one of their best registrars. I was one of the best registrars that I got excellent assessments. And it was to her shame, because what she thought was going to be harmful for me ended up being a wonderful experience. I didn't want to come back. We were loving life. We went to one restaurant there. My wife and I, you know, we are JJC now. That it was, you know, I would just go there. We used to have this cholera joint in my hospital in Lagos, Luth. I went from, you know, because I just finished internship. I didn't even do my NYSC. For those who are in Nigeria, I apologize. For those who are not, Casey and others who are not from Nigeria, I apologize. But that's just where I come from. So we had this restaurant called Cholera Joint. I don't know why they call it Cholera Joint, but, you know, it was a very open, you know, place where you eat and everything. Now I'm in a, you know, I don't know, maybe 3-star restaurant, you know, this Michelin at whatever special restaurant. And then they give us the menu. We did not understand anything. Something fettuccine, blah, 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 oregano, blah, blah, blah. The meal was about 5 or 6 lines. The name of the food was about 5 or 6 lines. It was Italian, all kinds of stuff. My wife and I, we just did 1, 2, 3, go, boom. 1, 2, 3, go, boom. By the time they brought the food, on tray, we could not eat. Then we just, that night, I'm telling you, we still went to McDonald's. We left that restaurant, we went to McDonald's. But it was the hospital that paid. Who cares? You sent me to the English test. You sent me to 5-star hotel and everything. They paid. So, brethren, I just want you to get that right. Remember that your cognitive resources are limited and you must be jealous about what you allow to be represented there. So today I want you to make a decision that you're going to guard what gets up there. You don't have to react to everyone. You don't have to give everybody the opportunity for them to, you know, you have to learn to let go. Because let me tell you, every single time you react to somebody, you are given precious time and resources to sensory experiences that have no value, and you are not going to be better off for it. Finally, value tagging, and this is going to be the last thing I'll talk about, value tagging. Now, why is value tagging really important? Now, once your sensory experience has been selected, all right, so value tagging is an unconscious activity. Your brain assigns importance to every piece of information that it is exposed to. And this precedes every action and directs your response to the stimulus. So even before you act, even before you do something, all right, before you do it, you know, that's what I was talking about, the brain and the mind being very predictive. Even before you do it, before you even take that step, all right, everything that you do, it's tagged already. And if it's tagged to be important, you take it very importantly. If it's tagged to be all harmful, that's the way. But how does your brain tag experiences and attach values based on your past experience? And sometimes our past experiences are not very good. Our conditioning has not been good. You know, I gave you the example that some time ago that my son, who was born here, is now 10. He said, Dad, do you have to shout? It was something about game or something. And I was like, so Dad, and I actually sat down and reflected on it that, do we have to shout? That was one of the reasons why I stopped watching Nollywood for a time on Netflix. Because I realized if you watch some of these African movies or whatever, even if a man wants to propose or what we say toast a girl, how do they do it? Come, funke, we are so. Have you watched just ordinary conversation is so, we are very, very emotive. All right. And I just sat down and thought, this is conditioning. This is conditioning. Everybody is so heightened. And if you are from that part of the world, you probably understand what I'm talking about. There was a day that I was standing my ground to one of where I was working, the practice manager I felt wasn't treating me all right. I would get to the office. I was a specialist. It was a group practice. We had about 5 neurologists there. I've left there now. And I realized that they were taking me for granted. I would get to work and my name will not be on the door. My name will not be on the door because it's a shared office. So different people use it. Maybe a psychologist will use it the next day or another person will use it. So it was a shared office. So you should put the correct, so I will get there, or they will move me to another room that I'm not familiar with. Or the way, but some of the other guys, they would keep them in the same, I felt they were just treating me differently. So I complained and I spoke and everything. And of course, the practice manager was trying to defend herself. And then she just said I was raising my voice. I said, no, I'm not raising my voice. You said, but I'm not raising my voice. But you're raising I'm not raising my voice. This is the way I talk. This is the way I talk. I am not raising. Of course, these people very quickly, these people, they say, he's bullying me or he's whatever. And my eyes, I've got big eyes. It's in our genes. So I was trying to explain. I'm not raising my voice. I'm just trying to explain myself. And of course, when you're angry, your Australian accent will disappear. You go back to the Ondo accent. I am just trying to explain myself. You will be so. And so she was like, so I had to calm down. So I calmed down and I said, okay, I apologized to her. I said, listen, I'm not trying to be bossy. All right. I was just trying to say, you guys treat me fairly. And you know what? I had a good point. From that day, they changed. They never treated me like, do you understand? Because I was the youngest there. All the others were Jewish, Greek men in their 60s. All right. I was the youngest. So maybe I don't think it was racism. I think they were just, taking me for granted, being the new kid in town. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if I wasn't very careful, I would have run into trouble if I just allowed that to escalate. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That is conditioning. A lot of us don't know that sometimes the way we talk is all conditioning because of what you have watched and what you have seen. Imagine that every day, 365 days a week, you go, if you're from Lagos, for example, Nigeria, or Stefan, I see you from Sudan, all right? You go in the bus and the conductor and the driver, they are screaming and you are driving. I used to have a friend in those days in Lagos that you cannot drive with him. He runs commentary. I think I've said this before. If you're in the car with him for 1 hour, you will be, oh my God, these Lagosians, God, he will not say a swear word, but he will complain about everybody and he will press on the brake. God help us. God, this country, gosh, my brother, can we just rest? Can we just talk about something else? No, it is complaint and complaint and complaint. That is conditioning. If you stay in the car with him for 1 year, all right, you will be like him. You will be like him. You will talk like him. You will raise your voice too. You will lose control. Value tagging relies on past experience, past conditioning. And it's very, very important that you understand this because it's a subconscious process. You are not even aware of it. So let me just put this together. Selective attention. What I'm trying to say with selective attention is that not every sensory experience needs to occupy space in your cortex. And even when that experience gets to your cortex with your limbic system will attach value to it. But in order to attach value to it, it will be based on your past experience. And sometimes your past experience and your past conditioning may not be ideal. So that's why you must be open to new things. That's why you must be open to change. And that's where this whole point of focused attention comes. Your attention is so precious. You can't allow it to be everywhere. You can't allow yourself to be distracted. You have to find a way to focus on the things that matter the most. And I was talking about visual focus the other day. The other time. It's almost like the other day. That's really key, because when you bring your goals, your dreams, your aspirations into constant focus, what happens is that your brain items all the networks in itself to start looking for opportunities. There's so many of us that are out there who are not seeing the opportunities because we're distracted. When you're focused on your goal and your focus is clear, and you're avoiding all these distractions, you will see more opportunities. Your perception will be enhanced. You'll be able to tell the difference. You'll be able to tell the difference. You will see things that other people are not seeing. It will jump at you. It will jump at you. It will, I've used this example before, that it will stay away from the background. I think I've used the example before if you listen to me. There are many times what you are looking for is merged in the background. But if you are really looking and you are sensitive, your mind will be opened up to those opportunities. I've been talking for how many minutes now? Over an hour, almost 1.5 hours, over 1.5 hours. And if you look behind me, you'll see books. Do you know that some of you have not seen my first book, Navigating Change, until I've said it now? Some of you have actually not seen that book or looked at that book. Am I correct? Am I correct? Okay, I see you. All right, that book. Some of you might not have, maybe some of you are seeing the book now. I'm promoting the book, yes, thank you, I'm promoting it. All right. That is perception. Sometimes when you are distracted, the little things that should make a difference, the little things that you should see, the little opportunities that you should see, you miss them because you allow other things. Like I said, that's the first thing I saw. Because of perception, okay, you've seen this book now, you worked on this book, you know what I'm talking about. So when you are, I need to bring this to a close because there's just so much to say, but let me just use the opportunity to take questions. I'm going to stop here now so I don't just keep going. All right. There's a lot to say, but I'll stop here. All right. And I'm just going to take 1 or 2 questions. It's supposed to be a 1-hour session, so I don't want to, it's 1 hour, 40 minutes. All right. I'm not here for my timekeeper, so I assume she's not here. So for me, where are you? Are you here? If not, let me just say a few questions, a few comments. Thank you so much. Adijoke, I pray for you that, yes, your dad will find healing in Jesus' name. I read that comment. Yes. Yes. All right, guys. So if you have a question, I'll just take 1 or 2 questions. Let me just go through the comments. I can't read all through the comments, but tell me how this has impacted you. Give me a word. Obina says, what is session really a blessing? Thank you. Grace is here. Grace Ijiwale is here. Thank you, Grace. Prosper, do we have to write in all 3 types of journals? No, choose whatever works for you. And if you want to choose the 3, fine. Do whatever suits you. Prosper. Temitope, I know you got a lot for us. Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you. Temitope, again, thank you, sir. Please, what is learned? Temitope wants to know what is learned helplessness. That's another topic on this. So, but let me just put it this way. Your brain helplessness is a learned, let me put it, a learned phenomenon, if I would use that word. Learned helplessness is what, the very good example I often use are addicts. People who are addicts. When you have been defeated over and over again, you tend to accept defeat. You stop trying. Learned helplessness is what makes the brain give up after it's been defeated over and over again. You accept that low pasture as your estate. That is learned helplessness. And it's a real psychological and neurobiological phenomenon that every time you try to achieve a goal or you try to create a behavior change, but you fail. So maybe like me, you try to lose weight, you try, Everybody's working. You know, all the people that do it on Instagram, work with me for 10 days, work with me for 50 days. You too, you did it. You know, and some of you did it. You go on Instagram, I'm working 50 kilometers, 50 kilometers. You did for day 1, day 2, by day 10. We don't see you on Instagram. You close your account. By the time we see you, you have gained 10 kilos. You try it again. After a while, you just, oh, my brother, I will not come and die. You just keep eating your jollof rice and coke. Learn helplessness. All right. But I can't spend too much time on it. There are a lot of biological reasons behind that. Francis, thanks so much. Working from Saudi Arabia. You have been so inspiring. Thank you, Frank, from Saudi Arabia. God bless you. Thanks for connecting. Fonade, I hope, or is it Fonde? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I just hope that if you can correct me, if you have your mic, you can correct me. Yeah, selective focus, choose what to focus on, value target. This relies on, yes, value is actually value tagging, Tagging, and focused attention. Derek, it's an eye-opener. Thank you. Tayo, thank you. It's awesome. Thank you. Iyaku says, thank you for simplifying this. Thank you so much. Okwe, yes, eye-opener. Yes, such a blessing. Thank you so much. Great session. How the brain works. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Wow, wow, wow. It explains a lot. Now, I'm looking for a question. Or if you want to speak out, you can raise your hand up and speak out if you want to while I'm looking for any question. Mary says, we're grateful. I've been inspired. Stefan Lachio, my man, Stefan Lachio is my great man. He's here. He came to pick me at the airport when I first came to Australia. Stefan Lachio is a great man from Sudan. The man of God, Stefan Lachio. Thank you for coming here. Mary, we are so grateful for your time today. Mary, I don't know which Mary is this, whether it's my Mary, my Mary in Cyprus. I'm not sure whether it is you. If it is you, declare yourself, Mary. Okay, Abimbola, you're asking a question. I've seen your hands are raised. I will come to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Derek, awesome session. God bless you. Oh, Funan. Okay, Funande, thank you so much. Great session. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Oh, Oyebanji says, this will take a lifetime for me to chew. Thanks, doctor. Wow, great. Inspiring. All right, Abimbola, I think that's the only question. We'll take that and we'll bring this to a close.
Yes, good afternoon from here, Dr. Nee. God bless you for this powerful section. I'm so blessed. I love every bit of it. The moment I saw the email, I ran here. Like, I mustn't miss this. Thank you so much. Thank you. My question, I already typed it. I guess you missed it. How can we help someone with no insight that is easily distracted, people that already have learned helplessness? How can we help them? How can we bring them to the awareness of themselves and their goals, and just to make them look really truthfully into themselves and be able to look for a process of change? That's my question, sir.
That's a great question. Great question. I don't have the answer for you. The only thing I can say is to be in their life and have a relationship with them. That's the only way. And then the way will come to you. You have the opportunity to do so. Because remember that it's a self-realization. It's not something somebody would preach to you. And in fact, when I talk about insight, I talk about it for my own self. When it comes to raised awareness, I'm not talking about it for others. I'm talking about it my own self. God, what are those areas of my life that I need to be aware of, my areas of growth? Do you understand? That's where it starts from. Of course, your family, your spouse, your pastor, all those areas, they will tell you and they will help you in those other areas. But you need to, in fact, without insight, you will not even accept what other people are saying. You will not even accept what other people are saying. So it is so deep and so profound that when for some people, it's only sort of prayers that can really help them. But I find that the only way you can really reach people is when you have relationships with them, genuine relationships. You're not having the relationship with them because of what you want to get or because you want to change them, but you just have a genuine relationship with them. You will have the opportunity for you to be able to, and then they will come to that realization. And of course, you know, as a person of faith, that's also a way. There's, you know, the Bible says that the heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and as rivers of water I directed it whithersoever I will it. All right. So that also, you know, our spirituality cannot be separated from this at all. All right. Because that's also another way of reaching those kind of people. And they will come, they will find their own moment. They will find their own moment when their eyes will be opened. I remember that, and those of you who have read my book or who have watched my book launch or seen me talk about my family would have heard that I struggled with my dad. My dad was a good man at heart, but he made a lot of wrong choices. And when he fell apart with my mom, it was a chaotic environment. My father left us. My mom was not working, and my mom had 5 kids without a job. My mom had not worked for years because my father was the person, and she was just, doing sort of home duty, stay-at-home mom. And then he went away with another woman. And there I was the only one in uni out of our 5 siblings. My brother did not go to school, primary school for 2 years, 1.5 years, because there was no school fees, even public school. It was so chaotic. And let me tell you, I had resentment for this man. I resented my father. The few other things that I shared with that. In fact, when my son read my book, my son could not understand. My father would lock me out because I went to church. There was a day he locked me out to 2 a.m. because I went to church and I wore his slippers. I did not have a slippers. I used to wear this to school, this shoe to school. They call it look. It's a female kind of sandal, look or something like that. I think that's what I used to wear to school. Can you imagine? I was in high school, secondary school, SS2, SS3, and I was wearing a female sandal to school. I didn't have a slippers. I didn't have anything. I would wear different types of slippers to church. All right. And I just couldn't understand why my father was treating me that way. I just could, because I was an excellent student. I was one of the best students in class. I was excelling, but my father was out of our lives. And he wasn't supporting us. There was no money in the family. My mom would go to the abattoir from morning to fight for scraps. She will come back late at night. She will be selling meat for other people. She'll be smelly. Her feet will be smelly. She'll bring meat at home. And that's what we will feed on. It was a hustle. And now I went from that situation, finished secondary school. We had to beg one of our neighbors to give us 2,000 naira. For those who are not from Nigeria, I apologize, I can't do the conversion. But those days, it was 2,000 naira to pay for my secondary school exams. Somebody just gave it to us. My mom was going, we were knocking door, please, my son, tomorrow is the deadline. We need 2,000 naira. One family gave us that 2,000 naira to do the exam. And then how I got into Yaba College of Technology to do computer science, how I got into medical school, and somebody paid my ways out of medical school. Do you know my father was not there? My Sunday school teacher paid my way through medical school. When I was now in year 5, my father now came back. That woman had already messed him up. He had become nothing. He had lost everything. He now came back, wanted to have relationship. He now wanted to be friends. He came to me. I remember one day my father came to me on campus. And I told him that you're not my father. It's because you don't care. He was shocked. I'm bold. I'm bold like him. He knows it. In fact, he saw himself in me. Like, my father is bold. Me too, I'm bold. I'm a Igbo man from Ondo State. The only thing I fear is gun. When I hear boom, I run. But if you don't bring gun, it's mouth that you bring. Okwe knows now. If you bring mouth and I bring mouth, I will not lose. Once you bring out gun or knife or weapon, my own mouth is not as big as weapon. I don't want to die, and I'm not. There's no argument that I will argue with you with a weapon. If you keep your weapon, we talk. I looked at my father and I was just like, oh, blah blah blah. Why am I sharing with you? Do you know that my father would not accept that what he had done was wrong? And then when I graduated, he wanted to throw a party. He decided that he was going to throw a party for my graduation, and I resisted. And then he told these family people came and said, you can't deprive him of it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyway, to cut the long story short, it was when my father was sick. He was sick, and he was right in the same ward where I was working as an intern in the hospital where I was working. That was when his eyes were open. Unfortunately for him, it was very late. And I can't forget that moment when my father held my hand and said, "Me, I love you." He said that to me for the first time ever in my life. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for my father was there with one of his legs amputated. He had an amputation, a balloon amputation. He stayed there, he was vulnerable, he was broken. Life had passed by. He didn't leave that bed. He passed away weeks later. But he found his eyes were open. And I prayed for God to heal him. I prayed, I fasted, he did everything. He didn't get the best of healthcare, as you probably would tell. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make there is that I am not responsible for his decisions. But I realized that my actions was what got to him. The fact that he was sick and vulnerable and I was there for him. Do you understand what I mean? Do you know that by the time my father died, I had zero? I had worked for about 6 or 7 months. About 2 or 3 months of my salary I put in Diamond Bank shares. I bought bank shares. The rest I'd consumed on him. By the time my father died, we were owing the hospital about 700,000 naira. This was a man that was not there for me. All my 1 year salary went on him. And I had an Australian visa waiting for me. So I had to move my trip to Australia because of him, because I had nothing. To get his body, I had to go to the head of the department because I had a distinction in pathology. The professor knew me and he wrote a letter to us, to the hospital management, to release his body. So they waived the fees, that 700,000. That's how we were able to get his body out. We had nothing. By the time my father died, we had nothing. In fact, he died on a Sunday. The Wednesday was when I paid for my Australian, actually I paid for my Australian exams. I had not gotten my visa at the time. So I paid for my Australian exams. I was delaying the exam, delaying it actually. So the money that I used to pay for the exam was the money that my father needed for another operation. He was supposed to have the operation that week, but he died on the Sunday. So I didn't return the money. It was a loan from a friend. I said, you know what? I am not staying in this country. I am not returning that money. I just quickly took the money, emptied my account, GTB account, and I went and I converted it to dollars and I paid for the Australian exams. Of course, my friend could not ask me for money now. For a while, I knew that my father has just died. I did not pay that money until I earned my first salary when I got to Australia here. That was when I paid that money back. Why am I giving you this story? I'm giving you this story because I have seen him. I saw a man who could not reason. I saw a man who felt he knew it all. I saw a man who made a lot of wrong choices. And his family, a lot of us, we were pain. My mom, let's not even talk about the pain that my mom went through, the hustle. My mom is in Australia here. She went through a lot of struggle, pain, my brother, all of us. But guess what? It made us stronger. We had to rise above all of that. For him, he found his moment. And I'm glad that at least before he died, he made up with my mom. At least there was closure. Some people don't have that opportunity, but at least he had it. So I don't know the answer to your question. That's why I'm being honest with you, but I don't know the answer. We can't control everybody. We can't choose for them. Do you understand? So, but what I want you to take out from is you. How do I raise my awareness to my areas of my growth? I've given you an example of journaling, and I've also talked about other areas. Accountability, your coach will help you, your mentors will help you see areas of your growth, your spouse will help you, your family will help you. If you're a Christian here, you have the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God will also point you to some of those things. And even when God gives you a vision and you know what you want to be doing, you have a passion for children, that will even stretch you to see the areas of your growth. That, oh yeah, maybe I need to have this, I need to do this, I need to do that, maybe even for you, maybe it's even your finances, it may be some area, other area. It may not be a flaw in your behavior. It may be that you need to go to school and get another degree, that's what you need. It may be that you need to learn a new language. All right, some of you are in Europe, some of you, the Frank from Saudi Arabia, maybe Frank needs to speak Arabic. I have a lot of Arabic patients because in Western Sydney where I am here, I've got a lot of Lebanese. All right, and every time I speak to them, I have to use an interpreter. Shukra is the only thing I understand. Frank there, Shukra, thank you. That's the only thing I understand in Arabic. All right, and I wish, in fact, one of my practices, Fairfield, 70% of the people there are Middle Eastern, Arabic. And the Arabic men, they can raise their voice, they get hungry very easily. They get hungry very easily. I've had about 3 or 4 Arabic men walk out of mine because they want letters that I'm not giving to, they're like Nigerian men. Only that day they can stand when they hear gunshot, but Nigerian man, like me, they don't like guns. All right. So guys, that was a very long answer to my last question. I'll take one more question. Did I miss? Sorry, if you've been typing, I've lost track of the chat. So it'll probably be better if you just raise your hand and just ask the question, because I can't keep up. Except Tofumi is here to help me dig it out. I'll just take one more question. I'll finish. We know it's a 2-hour session. Any other question? All right, I don't think there's any. Wow, what a session. What a session. Thank you, guys. Oh, BC, thank you so much, Coach BC. Thanks for your vulnerability. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I hope this has been of value to you. I hope you've been blessed. I hope you've been encouraged. I hope you've been challenged. I hope you've been nourished, and I hope you've gotten value. That's my commitment to you. I am in chilling season at the moment. I'm not doing a lot of, I don't think I'll be doing any other sort of mentorship programs. I think in December, Samekuda and I want to do something like a small 1 hour, 2 hour gig. I don't know, he's spoken to me about that. We'll probably will do that. So maybe in December, most of you may know Samekuda is a very good friend of mine. We'll do something in December, blah, blah, blah. But apart from that, I think I'm just going to be chilling and not doing a lot at this stage. But you can reach me, email info@nibori.com if you need anything. These videos are going to be on YouTube. I'll send a link of the 3 sessions so that you can get them. If you have not gotten my book, you should get my book, Navigating Change. And the other book, Victoria Esata, where is it? Yeah, Victoria Esata. This book, and and another book is coming out now. It's going to be powerful. It's coming out in December. Okay, should I show them? Should I show them the new book?
Yes, show them, sir.
Okay.
Show them, let them see it.
I should show you my new book. This one, you need to, if you've not bought any of my books, this one, you need to buy this one, because this one it's a special book. All right, it's a special book. Can you see it? It's going to be out first week in December. Eager, Unloved and Unwanted. And it's a book I wrote with my book club. So I've got a Change Makers book club. And in fact, I'll be opening it up to all of you. I'm going to write, every 6 months, I write a book with 10 people. This was with 6 other people. So I got 6 other people. We wrote a book together. All right, they were all my mentees. I was with them for 3 months. 3 months of teaching them, working together, discussing, building, and we wrote this book together. So if you want to write a book with me, you've never written a book before, you want to write a book with me, just don't send an email. I'm not going to see that email because I will start getting 20, 30 emails now. No. Just keep following me and when you see my emails, respond to those emails, or at least don't put them in your spam. If you do that, you will get the email. There'll be an email. You want to be in my book club, all right? The book club is not just for us to read books. I want us to write books together. You can see there. Let me share with you my mentees so that you see. Can you see the cover of the book? All right. I'm not sure whether you can see the cover. You see? All of us are co-authors of that book. All right. Co-authors. And all of them are first-time authors. All the people on that book are first-time. This book is powerful. Eager, Unloved and Unwanted. It's going to be coming out in December. And then in January, I'm going to launch another cohort of writers. So if you think you want to write a book, even if you don't know how to write, it doesn't matter, as long as you have a voice. Okay? Even if you don't know how to write, you've got a voice, you've got a passion, just stay in touch. Okay? We're going to select another cohort of 7 people. We'll work together, but you give me time. I don't want people that are, no. I want serious people. We meet every week for 2 or 3 hours. You dedicate the 2 or 3 hours every week, all right, for 2 months. You work with me, and that's it. We'll get a book out, and it will be powerful, all right? So keep that in mind. Ojo's hands are up. I'm not sure. Ojo, is this a question or what is it? Or is it just a quick one? You have Sam Ekundayos photo there, so I thought it was Sam Ekundaya.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I have a question. I don't mind if I can ask.
Make it very brief, very brief.
Yes. Okay. When you shared your story now pertaining to your dad, I sat down and I reflected on my own, and it's more or less like we are actually in the same shoe. Now, the question now is, at times I feel like I'm supposed to forgive and move on and let go. But the point is, he's not actually willing. Like, somebody that is sober to hear you, you understand? Like, okay, you want to make amendment about everything, but on the long run, it wasn't like it was my own fault, like he did everything and all. But the thing is, how do I balance? How do I make things work? How do I make peace with him? So that's the question, sir.
Very, very difficult and challenging. As I said to you, I struggled and we couldn't really get on. And if you were to learn from me in retrospect, maybe I wasn't patient enough. Maybe I wasn't maybe I wasn't mature enough because I was still young then, and I was still, Dad, you did this. I wasn't, as mature as I am now. So in retrospect, I would say that still seek for a relationship. Seek for just seek for a relationship, not because you want to correct him. Pray for him and just try to get along. Even if you can't, don't try to win an argument. Don't try to be superior. All right, opportunities, let me tell you, opportunities will come. Opportunities for you to make a difference in his life. At the end of the day, it's still God's work, but you just stay connected with him. Don't disengage completely. That's probably one of the mistakes I made. And now in retrospect, I regret it as well. I think I would have had more opportunities to be able to reach out to my dad if I did not just want to cut him off. For a long time, I did not want to. I will certainly not call him. Not that when he calls me, I will not respond, but I didn't want to have an engagement with him. Like if we're in the same place watching a program, my father is also the very vocal type. He wants to talk about, look at Finidi George. I'll just be looking. When it says it twice and I don't respond, he will keep his mouth shut. I need to, both of us just watch TV. Like I'm like, Finidi George waiting that, you have not put money to the house. Well, you are talking about Finidi George going to buy the Rika rice. You don't know how much it is. What concerns me with Finidi George? Do you understand? But it's hard. I know it's hard to respond in that situation. But in retrospect, I would have done that. I'm telling you the truth. It's a sign of maturity. It's a sign of maturity. I don't think I was matured enough to be able to handle that. Okay. So I'm not a family therapist. And I can't give you all the answers. As you can see, I'm a neuroscientist. Of course, I'm a pastor and I can counsel from the spiritual aspect as well, but I can't answer all of these questions. All I can say is build a relationship. Opportunities will come from that. And you pray for that person. That's all I can say. Obina, please make it very quick. I know you've been very good to me today.
Yeah, sorry, I will make it very quick. It's just a brief one. In terms of being accountable to a mentor, it's obvious that we have a lot of goals. Some of them are not related actually. Some might be in terms of finance, some might be in terms of just like you spoke about writing and the rest. But it's actually going to be hard for me. I'm thinking, I don't know whether there is any other quick way to be accountable to a lot of people. Is there any way that is going to make it very easy for you? Because when you're accountable to a lot of people, it's quite easy. Because let's say in that case, we might have up to 6 people. Because obviously everybody will not be good in every field. Just like you're saying that you're not a family therapist or something. You might have to be accountable to a lot of people. Is there any quick way to make it better and easier for you to just have a few people that respond to you? That's just my question.
Yeah, I get it. But you don't need accountability in every area of life. Sometimes what you need is just to attend a course or develop a skill. If you need to be accountable in 6 areas of your life, you've got to check your life and see what is happening. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that means you don't have self-control or self-motivation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for example, I may need a fitness coach. I've got a fitness coach, a personal trainer who holds me accountable in that area. I've also got a life coach. All right. Of course, my life coach, most of you know her, Wendy Burns. She's an old 60-something-year-old woman. She's not going to say, she can talk about lose weight, whatever, but she's not going to hold me accountable. But when it comes to life, she can. All right. So, but I have had people at different points in my life. For example, when I wanted to write a book, I got a book coach. The first book I wrote, Navigating Change, I got a coach to go guide me through that process. Do you understand? But it's a short-term relationship, not a long-term relationship. So I think it's very important to understand that you can have short-term relationships with people that will guide you through a process, that will be there in your life. all right, maybe they're your pastor, your older brother, or somebody that will be like a life person for you. And if it is coaching route you want to go through, you can get a life coach that will help overboard, like just like an overview of your life and your purpose. All right, so that's very helpful. But if there are specific areas like you need finance and all that, you can get a financial planner. You can get somebody to just help you in a particular area. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be like forever, like, you know. And you must also. I don't think you need accountability. You need to have 6 people in your life to be accountable. And in fact, if you have somebody who is a life coach, they often cut across. They are broad anyway. And remember, for example, coaching is not about teaching. You may even know more than your coach. My own coach does not have a PhD. I have a PhD. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not about what she doesn't, like, Wendy Barnes doesn't teach me anything. She doesn't teach me anything. She works out a plan for me that can help me achieve work-life balance and success with my family and all the basic things that I do, and holds me accountable to those goals. So that's the difference between coaching and mentoring. I can't go into all of those things now, but I hope that gives you a bit of balance into that, okay? But don't try to get too many people into your life, and then you tell them, oh, gosh, I don't know how you will cope with 6 people. God help you with that. Okay, I've got to bring this to an end. Thank you so much for connecting with me. God bless you. Let me pray with you guys. Lord, I thank you for today. Thank you for these wonderful people who have connected with me. I thank you for their lives, and I thank you for the conversations we've had. I pray that all that we've discussed will continue to resonate, and that God, you will use it to bless, advance, increase them, and that God, you will help all of us to create the sustainable behavioral change that we need to be people of impact. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you guys. Stay with me. Continue to get my emails. Don't also unsubscribe. All right, and God bless you. Wish you all the very best. Cheers.